Okay, so let's go pretty deep today. I'm feeling powerless, deflated, like I've kind of gone back to square one. Yeah. I'm realizing this Alexander work, which is about essentially giving up your habitual ways of doing things, your coping strategies for dealing with the world. It's a lot more involved than I had imagined. It's like everything I'd kind of consciously directed myself towards and been like, okay, this is wrong, well, this could be better in my life, therefore I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to better it. Man, I applied so many ideas in my life. Created a whole web, tangle, mess of structures which made, which I relied on, created an ego around, or let's say they are my ego. The ego is the protections, I suppose, the learned ways of doing things, habitual reactions. Yeah. Now, I'm seeing those things so much more clearly. And yet, I'm like, oh, the things that I thought I was best at are actually the things that I'm fucking myself over with, that are the cause of tensions and pains. The two main ones for me have been diet and exercise. With exercise, I'm like, wow, I kind of learned to beat myself up, roar into a frenzy of craziness, to thrash around the weights. I achieved some kind of superficial success with that. Now, I'm approaching the weights a little more, like properly, consciously, and the old way of doing things doesn't make sense to me anymore. I'm like, I'm starting again. It's like I'm lifting like pathetically light weights. I just don't have that macho kind of drive. I'm like, all that shit I learned over the years. It's gone. And then diet, and this runs way deeper. I realize I got the extent to which I created a world of restrictions and rules and shortcuts. It's crazy. And I realized that although I did that and then realized that restriction was not the way forward and tried to move to a more flexible approach, I wasn't maybe as flexible as I thought I was. And it was a rigidity masquerading under the guise of flexibility, but it was actually very much doing. I think in particular my experiences bodybuilding prep last year, I really, really drummed it into myself, this idea of eating food based off numbers rather than what your body's signals are generally telling you to ignore your body's signals. It's a deliberate practice in ignoring your body. That is what, that's what exercise and diet, in the way that I approached it, is. It's about ignoring your body. It's about doing. It's about plugging some numbers in and saying, I'm going to it's going to give me some spit out some numbers, and if I do X, Y, and Z, then I will mathematically become ripped. Oh my God, wow. Now I'm like, my diet, I'm like, whipping myself into shape doesn't really make so much sense anymore, and I've sort of flirted with the idea here and there, but then I'm like, it's like, that crazy dieting, just, it doesn't make sense. So with that, I think, what's the way forward? Is to re-educate myself, to learn how to handle food, to use food appropriately. I think that involves a re-education of the senses. Which means actually paying attention to my stomach. In tasting foods and being mindful. Knowing when I'm hungry, knowing when I'm full. So I basically taught myself not to do that. I'm like, this is me. I'm like, I got in such superficially good shape, but like, actually that stuff did a lot of damage. So it makes you look at your life and be like, wow, like, what do I do next? Part of me kind of craves withdrawals for that kind of do adrenaline, cortisol, yang. Yeah. Someone actually in my course mentioned this to me. There's withdrawals. We're addicted to our own habits. Giving this stuff up is really like giving up addictions. It's like, for years, having been a fat kid growing up and then having got in shape and been like, cool, I got in shape and I managed to do it, I've got the solution. Hung on to that solution for years, 5 years now. Throughout that time, I was like, I'm running away from feeling fat, slovenly, disgusting, always at the first flicker of it, trying to beat myself out of it, trying to diet and whatever. Terrified of going back to old fat Ben. And the mindfulness of my eating, the actually paying to it just went, and now it's like I'm picking up this skill, which eating, diet was, I'm so-called expert at it, and now I feel like I'm, behind even, your average person on the street. It's a rather humbling experience, humbling moment. Which I suppose is something that I was kind of looking for, but I guess now it's there. I wanted to be humbled. I felt like I was too arrogant. I felt like I was too big for my boots. But now it's here, it's like, now I see what's involved. Other things, I spoke with someone today, and they were saying how the teacher, Anthony, mentioned to them he could sniff that they had a feeling of not being good enough. And he said to them, you know that feeling of not being good enough you're feeling? And she was like, oh my god, how do you know you're saying that? And he was like, sit with it. And she was like, what? Like, sit with it. She was like, no, but I spent my last 50 years running away from that feeling. I think this is akin to what I'm feeling now in terms of my slovenliness, laziness, bleh. Oh my god, yeah, now the words tumble out of my mouth, that's what it is. This laziness, this like, low motivation, not getting stuff done. That is something I have been frantically running away from now for years. Even when I was like ridiculously tired, I'd whip myself up, beat myself into doing more. It feels like there's a lot of unexpressed laziness and shittiness that I've been denying from my experience. And the thing is, it's not budging that easily because there's a lot of it there, and this is part of life. Laziness, low motivation is part of life. This is why people suffer extreme burnout, chronic fatigue. Collapse. If I'm honest, probably part of me knew that I was overdoing it. I'd have to pay at some point. And I can see why doing this training is... People said you really go through hell. So there's nothing you can do but develop this awareness in each moment. Develop it. Retrain myself. I'm starting from square one. That's kind of what I came here for, right? I wanted to be different. I had a feeling that I was carrying loads of shit that I didn't need to carry. And as such, being different does mean dropping what's familiar. So, moving into really new territory now. But feels good in some kind of way that I know that I'm in the long term going to benefit from dropping all this bullshit. God knows how much more bullshit there is to drop. got a sense that I've got a feeling there's loads. Cool. Thank you. I've got a feeling this could be one of the ones that I look back on in years to come. That felt good, really honest. Now I'm probably off to go eat shitload more food and feel more disgusting and lazy. Gradually does it.